to watch back probably the VOD of yesterday where you guys faced off against Eanix, Firdo. So looking towards this game, if you had the insight from back then, because, you know, hindsight 2020, what would you prioritize here in picks and bans?
For SB or Eanix?
For SB, if you're SB.
For SB, I would definitely look to, like, banning-wise, I still wouldn't want to leave a comfort pick for the jungler Osric. He's really comfortable on a Eanix and pressure gods, so I think still keeping that out of his hand so he doesn't kind of get into that zone. I think that's really important, so I'm looking for a Eanix to be like a ban here for SB, but, you know, we'll see.
Early game is the key to the pressure to winning a lot of these lane controls, especially around that solo jungle side, and that's something a lot of these teams in the console world have been dictating in their strategy. Serket is the option, not going to be the Awilish.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Just because like Serket has had a good showing on land and everything, but I don't see Osric playing that god. I mean, maybe he would just because of the success in the land. I don't know, but I definitely would have, you know, figured early pressure would be the main thing for Eanix. Maybe even a Uller ban there, honestly, would have made more sense.
We've actually seen the European teams leaning a little bit towards that Susano pickup. And what is your mentality on this? Like, how do you feel Susano really sits in this meta right now?
Susano's weird because it's really hard to get through like that early phase. Like the early levels are so tough for Susano. He still has a great team fight presence and everything. Like it's great if you can get going with him, but he can fall behind so fast, and it's just one of those gods that if he does fall behind, it's really tough to get back from. Something
we haven't seen in a hot minute was this Kokolin coming through after the first pick, after the second and third pick, reaching all the way to pick number 4 for Eanix. You know, it wasn't banned away, which a lot of teams actually prefer to do. And with the Xingqian, you got the frontline aggression from Kokolin, the backline peel from Xingqian.
And
I love it.
Eanix, straight from the get-go, just 3 incredibly beefy frontliners, and I absolutely love, I mean, you were just about to say it, you know, it's the Xingqian with that Sylvanas. That is, I think, a beautiful combination because of the Kokolin.
Yeah, you have engage, more than enough engage, honestly. Even if Sylvanas goes like blink, you're set. But you also have peel and you have sustain. So this comp right now, honestly, in my opinion, fits Eanix very well. You get a little bit less pressure on the solo side with Xingqian, but he doesn't need that. So now what Osric can look to do is kind of get his mid and dual lane ahead, get Vaporish comfortable.
Do you think that Strictly Business are going to maybe look to take away purely hunters, or maybe try and take a couple shots at Osric as well?
I think if it was me, I don't know what Strictly Business is looking to do, but I would still look to keep that solo and jungle, you know, tame. You have to control them because we have seen it through the online split. I mean, those guys kind of take over. So if you can stop that from happening, the best way to stop that from happening is, you know, picks and bans. So if you can pick away a couple gods from them or ban a couple gods from them, you'll be good.
I mean, I think that Kaden is really preferring the Thor here recently, and Eanix should probably look to ban that away. Osiris is already the selection for a Strictly Business solo laner here. Ryan Jarman is going to be looking to make some offensive plays, especially against this Guardian Xingqian solo lane, and got to pair it up with an aggressive jungler.
Well, Strictly Business have a ton of damage just between that Almuzankab and the Thoth selection, but when it comes to the setup for either of these two gods, a lot of CC is kind of lacking here for SB, and for Eanix, they've certainly got to recognize that.
This Bastet ban is very curious to me from Eanix.
I don't know why they banned Nox and Soul. They had the mid laner already.
Yeah, I mean, Nox and Soul from Strictly Business, they banned Strictly Business side. They still need their backline
right,
there.
Yeah, no, gotcha. Yeah, I completely got confused. I was looking at SB's picks.
Eanix, though, however, banning away the Bastet is a little confusing on my perspective, simply because this is not a goddess we've seen very often. You know, she doesn't really have that CC immunity. Now, she does a lot of damage in the late game, but that's if she gets there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't agree with the Bastet ban. I mean, I haven't seen Kaden play it outside of, you know, scrims or anything like that. I don't think that's something that he would go with. I would have liked to see definitely a Thor ban, because for some reason Kaden for the last 2 lands actually has been getting that Thor, and he's so comfortable on it.
I mean, Thor is just a well-rounded god if you think about it. Global pressure, has a long-range stun, a long-range poke, and then the closer you are to him, the more damage he's going to deal back to you. Terra is going to be the selection, knowing that there's no need to rush the jungle pick quite yet.
Yeah, for sure. The Terra pick is good because you kind of have to compete with that sustain from Sylvanas even just a little bit. So I agree with it. I don't know how good he's going to play the Terra, but it is Koi's. He's very good on that god. So I think they're going to have a good showing on it.
But it does still question or raise the concern again about having that lack of setup for this Thoth pick. It's something where if you have to apply that pressure unnecessarily onto your mid, then sure, you've got to have the confidence in your team. And I'm certain that Strictly Business is a team to have confidence in their mid laner to connect with his abilities, but I would still just generally be concerned because Eanix has a lot of ways to escape from what SB is trying to throw at him.
They have a root, they have a lot of knockups there as well. Xing Chen and Sylvanas is going to keep people locked down, and Kakulin is going to make sure that he chases anyone that's really low.
Yeah, I think the main thing that they're looking to do is kind of focus out the Sylvanas. It's kind of easy to kill Sylvanas with the Terra and the Thoth combination, you know, with the Cyrus and everything. So the Sylvanas might have a bad showing. We'll have to see how Eanix plays it, but he's looked pretty comfortable on that god so far. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
For Dinosaur in particular, the Sylvanas positioning is probably going to be the most important part, but I don't think that Dinosaur's had any issues with that so far. Whether or not Strictly Business is going to force him to mix it up a little bit, that's another question for later on down the line. And instead, we're seeing the Scylla and the Cardinos. What's that? I heard the sigh. What's going through your mind?
I hate Scylla right now. It's like Scylla just struggles in this meta right now, in my opinion. She's so easy to kill. I mean, you think, you know, she's so safe with her escapes and everything, but like those don't even count right now. Like you can just focus her so easily, especially with a Thoth. You can from long range just kill her whenever she goes in ult. They have such good dive on that SB team, in my opinion. So I don't know about the Scylla pick, but I do like the Kern pick because it does offer pressure on that side, and I think he'll play good on it. And I love this Thor pick.
I mean, that's just Caden right there in a nutshell.
Yeah.
That man on your screen loves the Thor. It's going to synergize very well with this long-range poke on the Thoth. And I think that SB's draft is very well-rounded here.
Yeah,
SB's draft for sure, and the Thor also I think provides that little bit of a setup that I think they might have been missing initially. Now you can have Caden come crashing down with that anvil and make sure to try and set up his mid laner there on that Thoth. But it's still going to be one of those things though of high execution, and I do feel looking at these two drafts as though Eanix could possibly have a little bit more wiggle room as far as mistakes are concerned.
It seems that way, right? Scylla needs to connect those roots, needs to be patient about waiting for the setup between Xing Chen knockup, maybe even the root from Sylvanas, or just a straight up blink ultimate from Kakulin. I'm expecting Osric potentially to pick that up at level 1.
Yeah, I'm looking for a Xing Chen and Kakulin to definitely be kind of like you know, that strong force in the front line, you know, just getting a whole bunch of stuff from SB. Don't let this Thoth free cast on you. And if you do all that, you should be fine. But I'm also looking for Caden to be aggressive because he's been kind of passive this lane. And I feel like if he can play with confidence this game, he can really be that catalyst.
Well, now's the time. You know, they split against Elevate yesterday, against Eanix here today. They split against you guys yesterday. You know, everyone is just split down the middle. It's time for somebody to kind of step it up here.
Yeah, kind of like us, right?
Yeah.
What if it's Eanix, though? I mean, Eanix has got to be feeling really good. Kurnos is one of those hunters that kind of permits Vaporish to do what he wants to do, and that's just work his way around the back line, throwing out as much damage as possible. This is a great boxing lane between the AMC and the Kern.
It seems that way too. Kurnos having that double sustain, as long as you build Devo gloves, you switch to that spring season stance, you should be fine to solo Gold Furies pretty early on here.
Yeah, Kurnos, you know, he'll be fine in lane as long as you don't like, you know, panic relic, kind of like Saxy did earlier. But no, Kern is usually safe. He's definitely going to have, you know, a good pressure lane. He'll have good boxing matches with AMC. And I'm looking for Coast to kind of force these fights, kind of feel him out a little bit, see how he kind of reacts to his play style. I'm looking for that for sure.
Especially the way he played yesterday.
Yeah.
He felt very confident there, and just a lot of energy all across the board for Eanix. And we'll see if that's going to carry here in the second day.
You think we're going to hear anything about it after this set is done and over with this best step ban?
I mean,
that's got to be somebody saying something about a pocket. I just can't see it being for nothing.
Maybe it was just a throwaway ban. They didn't either know what to ban specifically, or maybe they just don't care what Caden was going to play.
I think that was, I mean, maybe it's that because, like I said, he hasn't had the best showing, but at the same time, it's like, I just feel like it was bad information. Like, like Thor, you've seen Caden like from DreamHack, like I said, you know, playing Thor, and he plays amazing on it on the online phase. I don't see the step ban at all. I don't know.
Just not really working out for you, but
Yeah.
I am certainly very excited. Actually, just keeping in mind these two drafts, I'm also really wanting to pay attention to the fact that Terra doesn't have that root anymore.
Yeah.
That patch has long since happened, which is, I think, the main reason why we've seen her fall so out of favor amongst the console and PC side of things. But against a Scylla, that global movement speed could still be very important as far as chase and dive is concerned.
You don't necessarily need the Terra root when you look at the rest of the draft from SB. Having the Thor wall stun, having Osiris to keep you in place with a tether, and then his slows, you're really looking at those two with the Thoth long-range stun to set up something else.
Yeah, I don't think the Thoth needs much setup in my opinion. He's so good, honestly, by himself. Even if he has just a little bit of setup, he should be fine. And honestly, when you have a Thoth in your team, like you have so much presence late game to just win a match off of one team fight. Like it can happen at any second. Thoth can literally just kill your backline. You can't do anything about it. And Terra, honestly, I feel like she just kind of got like a shift. Yeah, so I don't know. It all depends on how Koi's plays it. If he can, you know, play that shift well, I think they'll have a good showing.
Well, I'm definitely really excited to see what happens between these two teams, especially since they've both already shown some very strong performances. For you to decide, who do you have taking game number one?
Game number one, I want to give it to Eanix, just because I really like their front line. I like what they got going in the back line too. Yeah, I'm looking for them to take this game.
I actually have it for Strictly Business here. I think their draft is more well-rounded, and I think that they honestly have more synergy between their picks. I got to give it to SB.
We'll split down the middle with you two, so time to find out who exactly is going to be victor of game number one as we take it away to the casters.
Thanks a lot, Taco. Tom Battinger here with Ryan Bailey. Fantastic setup, Eanix and SB. Yesterday, Eanix were the team on the scene. I mean,
yeah.
Vaporish Coast was the guy to watch. Can you do it again?
I mean, the Kernunos this time up against the Amus and Cobb, you can play aggressive in that matchup, and I think that that's important for Vaporish to get some confidence again. I can't imagine how much more confidence he needs because he soloed Zaxi in lane yesterday, and then he got a pentakill. But I mean, just to get off to a good foot, that can be an advantageous matchup, or that can be one where Kernunos kind of struggles. That's how it is against AMC, in my mind, with every hunter. AMC has kill potential, other hunter has kill potential. So whoever's going to be able to get a lead in that lane is going to really be a big factor in this game, and that's one of the lanes that's really important here.
Big thing for me on Eanix is Scylla in that mid lane. There's a lot of potential there, but Scylla has had a lot of issues historically here at LAN for pretty much no reason. It's just, you know, it's like watching players sort of talk about which side they want to play on. There's no rhyme or reason to why she's really doing poorly. It's not a meta thing. Everybody that's played her just sort of struck out.
And that's just, in my mind, a lot of nerves, because Scylla is a character that does well off of setup and sets up for herself very well. And when you're missing things off of setup, or when you've set up yourself, then that's just LAN getting to you, in my mind. Or the fact that you're just an inconsistent, you're inconsistent in that role. Though usually if you're here at LAN, that's not the case. So I agree with you. I still think I've always been a big proponent of Scylla. It was a god that I was very, very comfortable on and wanted to play in big play situations because of how game-changing she can be. Whether it's the ultimate or just hitting a multi-man root into a crush, I mean, that can win you a team fight without a doubt.
That's the key there. Is everybody focuses on the ultimate, and like we have the saying that I'm not.
What's the saying?
I don't know what you're talking about, actually.
Wait, what do you? I don't know what you're talking about.
So in one team fight,
okay,
one ultimate can change the entire course of a game.
From any god, or like from Scylla specifically?
From Scylla.
Oh, because it does a lot of damage?
No, because when you get one kill, it'll reset and you can do it again.
Wait, really?
That
never happened to me.
Yeah, because you don't actually get the kill.
No, I got kills.
I don't know about that one.
Wait, one team fight can change the entire course of a game?
Yeah, we've actually seen it multiple times. This whole you're smarter than this, and it's not working for you. You need to put this bid.
Okay.
You need to put it away.
Okay, no, I'm starting to see it now. I'm starting to. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can buy that.
I can't apologize enough for my co-commentator. Unfortunately, he's pretending to be stupid.
I'm just trying to understand the game at a deeper level, and I appreciate you helping me out with that.
He's actually a very talented commentator. I swear.
Thank you.
Just not right now. But as we get into the game, maybe That's going to change a little bit. SP's jungler, Kaden, goes to the Thor, one of the characters. Caden's actually, I won't call him the Achilles heel of this SB team, but he's certainly not the focal point.
No.
His Thor is a character that he can pilot well, though.
It is, and that's been the question mark regarding this SB team ever since Caden joined it. Caden has some of the highest highs in the SCL among junglers. I mean, he has games where he looks unstoppable. He's doing it all for this squad. Unfortunately, those games are usually online. In fact, they've almost always been online. Now, under the sword tag, Caden did have a very good spring land here in these studios. So. He looked really, really good, and that's why it was kind of surprising to a lot of us that when we came to DreamHack Valencia, he looked abysmal. I mean, there's no other word for it. So how well can he play at this LAN? I mean, he's had one really great LAN so far this year and one really bad one. So which Caden are we going to get here in this one? Thor, comfort pick for him, but one that Thor is a character that I think you can start to feel when you're not hitting things. I mean, you start to second guess yourself on the ultimate. Yeah. You're second guessing if you're going for poke or if you're going to teleport in. That can end up impacting him, and I'm interested to see how well he plays in this one.
We're going to get into game in just a moment here. That in and out really kind of
I know. There was like I wanted like some sort of 90s. Yeah, like, exactly one of those. If you could just do it again next time
Well, we're gonna go into game, so here we go.
No, it's the picks and bans.
Oh no, I thought we were going into game. Right.
You were like a real Mario there, like
Mario. Here we go.
Now it's my turn to apologize for my co-caster. At times he's very talented. This is not one of those times.
Thwomp. I'm actually just a sound effects man.
That's all. I know that's what you actually want to be.
Oh my God, you have no idea. Not just the god names, but also like the noises they make. I would totally be down.
We should do like a segment in between like switching desks or whatever, like name that ability, and it's just you like making the noise, and then we come back to it, and it's like that was Book of Demons. Like,
Tom Manager at the furry desk here. One thing. Name this ultimate. Bwah!
Jean-Quiot.
There you go. Bang. You win a banana. Right side. Predator's going to try and defend his buff. Does have the hand of the gods. We've seen this a number of times. I'm going to call this the Dwarst approach because he does this pretty often. Osric, however, might fall down. That's not something you want to do often. Dwarst does this often, specifically on the Xing Chen. He goes Xing Chen, he gets a hand of the gods, and he tries to defend his buff, usually successfully.
And it's successful even with Osric getting poked out so heavily on that right-hand side. That threat of the hand of the gods just so much that it's not worth for Strictly Business to try and invade that buff. So instead they go to lane, push that under tower. Now they're going to rotate in and be able to pick up these fire elementals. So they're still going to be ahead because of the neutral farm going their way, but not exactly what they wanted. Would have preferred to get that first blood or at least have Predators be the one who got poked out very low so that they could invade that buff successfully.
And here, Vaporish Coast just going to solo his own buffs and then head to lane next to Matt Coy's support player here on Terra. Caden getting very low here. A lot of rumble going on in the solo lane.
That's the console league for you. They love to 2v2 in this lane, and that's why Cullen is really impactful in the jungle. Have actually forced Caden into using that purification beads already.
Silla's going to pop down the crush. Detonates it way early. Way early. Not going to be the case. Nice. Caden just barely getting out of there. That, again, could have been lethal. Just like before, it could have been lethal for Osric. Back and forth we go.
Both junglers getting poked out heavily. Osric completely out of potions. Now Caden also completely out of potions. Now, no speed buff yet for Caden, so he's going to be able to go heal up off of that buff if he gets a chance, but look at where Eanix is going, into that opposite jungle. This is the risk where you try and take the trade. Now you end up losing that trade, and all of a sudden they can just go and take your buffs because they're still up.
Exactly. And keep in mind, Predators, because there was no contest coming out from SB, still has that hand of the gods. You know, it was actually interesting. Yesterday during Eanix's game, we were talking about how Eanix was contesting even the straight predictable losses, right? Just making the opponent work for it. If SB makes Eanix work for those buffs and they have to drop the hog, Predators and friends don't even think about going for the invade. But that said, SB chases them out and they don't successfully do it either way.
Yeah, I wonder if it's better with Predators having the hog there. I think I would have preferred to have Eanix actually start up that blue buff and sacrifice the majority of that wave in order to get the buff in their favor. Just a little bit too conservative in my mind. Normally you want to be conservative with a Xing Chen in the solo lane, but when you've got the hand of the gods and you haven't been forced to use it quite yet, then that's an opportunity that you kind of have to take advantage of.
Exactly. When you're taking hog, you're losing out on whatever other relic you might have wanted. You see a horrific emblem across the way, maybe a sprint would be good to counteract that, but you went hog. So if you're going to sort of hamstring yourself, if you will, actually use it. That's a problem if you're just not going to do it. Ryan Jarman.
Osric's dead. Osric's just completely dead here.
Oh, he got stunned, and he is! Ryan Jarman with the jump on top. Easy first blood.
2v1 as well. Osric just wasn't able to transform. He's got no purification beads. I wonder if he could have blinked right before the stun went off. I think that's the only way that he gets out of there, because he'd already used that Salmon's Leap to try and get away. That's just using the power of the Osiris, and that's why I love Osiris as the return pick after Eanix first selects Xing Chen. Xing Chen has been the guy, basically, not only in this land, but at Super Regionals as well, that really dictated a lot of these games. And so it's not too surprising to see Eanix first pick it, but it a great understanding by Strictly Business to say, okay, you can take that. We're going to take pressure on our side lanes. We're going to take Osiris and Amuzen Cobb and try and get pressure on both of the sides of the map, and then try and utilize that to exploit the weaknesses of Xing Chen, which is that early game.
And, you know, this opens up a larger conversation about the meta. Vaporish going to get stunned out by Matt Coy, slowed as well, but should generally be fine. I think AMC is too far away to really impact this, and Dual Lane will meet up, high five, and go for the red buff. Right side, blue buff, being aggressed on Predators, just quietly takes up his own blue. Meanwhile, pancake flip on Ryan Jarman. Eanix looking for revenge, ultimate out of Predators. Jarman relatively low, but Osric lower, very close to death. And Caden gonna take to the sky. Jarman gets it off screen with a hit. And Caden not gonna find the ultimate. Doesn't need to though. SB puts number 2 up.
That horrific emblem has done so much already for Eanix.
Strong.
It's so strong, especially when you think that the enemy Guardian solo is going to be getting something like Hand of the Gods. Final Judgment just off there for Baronic. Not sure it would have been enough to bring them down anyways, but at least would have forced Predators back to base.
That was straight up. I apologize if the whistle picked up on the mic badly. That was just a true raw reaction, because that was just a nice little jump out of the way.
Yeah, that
really, it was a good-looking dodge.
It was, and
That's what I like.
You also gotta respect the Baronic's just shooting his shot. You know what I mean?
Always.
Without any setup. You know, I think if he realizes that he doesn't get the kill in that position, he probably doesn't shoot it in the first place. But Baronic's a confident mid laner, and he should be, because he's one of the premier mids in the league.
Which is a great story. I think there's a lot of players like Baronic here in the console league where, you know, they started off at a relatively, you know, moderate, like average place, because you get better with good competition, right? And when you're just sort of spamming ranked before the onset of the league, you're ceilinged, right? You're glass ceilinged. And now all of a sudden you get to watch these players. Baronic was not one of the stronger players in the league once upon a time, and now he's, like you said, one of the premier mids that I look forward to catching.
It's funny that you bring that up, because I saw a tweet from Chapo earlier today that said, you know, I tuned into the console land, and most of the names I just recognized from them trolling my ranked games a couple years ago, and now they're here and playing really well. And just the nature of the beast, the nature of the league, where, you know, you start to have some trouble at the beginning. You start to not be where you want to be, and then you get on the come up, you get on the grind, you start to work on it, and you get better very quickly. And that's certainly been the case for guys like Baronic, like Fatal Ghost, like Ryan Jarman. I mean, all those guys have been around for a little bit now and didn't find success at first, but are now considered to be a top 2 team. Jarman, previously known as Nickwid, been in the scene for a long time. Dinosaur gonna get just looked at. And, you know, Nickwid, long-time supporter of the scene. Even before he was playing, he was like casting games on his channel, having some fun with it. That's just a slow. I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal for the Kernanos player right now so far. Koi's caught the dash. That's why I kind of was surprised. And Koi's looks very comfortable on this Terra, a god that we haven't seen a lot of recently, as they mentioned on the desk, after losing her root on the 3. It's not been quite as popular, but still's got a really impactful global ultimate that you've got to use. Osric deals with 2 separate players by himself, secures his own speed buff successfully. And, you know, I mentioned that this Eanix squad was one of the European teams that caught my eye a long time ago. And it was Osric specifically that caught my eye. And you know what's funny? I think the players surrounding him have surpassed him at this point. But at one point in time, Osric was the guy on this team, and now his squad is looking to collapse around Dinosaur. There's a sprint pop to get him out of that horrific emblem slow. Crush off the mark there for 50-meter fly route as well. Couple missed abilities there that could have turned that fight in Eanix's favor. Jarman still had the ultimate, so it's going to be hard to bring him down, especially with him having Silver Talisman complete. He's going for some early health and magical defense, but that you got to be a little bit more accurate there if you're a 50-meter fly.
Dinosaur, on the other hand, I feel like missed Sylvanas pulls are not something to cry about. It's sort of when you grab it, it's something nice.
Yes.
Dinosaur was off by such a minimal amount. If he grabs that player, everything is different there for Eanix.
Completely agree. Unless it's off of a route, your Sylvanas route or whatever, in which case I am definitely flaming you in my ranking.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, you toss out the Sylvanas pull like every time it's up. And if you grab somebody, you have a party, you hit that pinata. And if you don't, well, you just move on.
Sometimes I even like to throw in a little 360 action. Try and keep it spicy.
So that's why you don't hit anything.
Yeah. But when I do, though.
Going back to, you mentioned, Baronic not being afraid to sort of shoot his shot. I like that, especially in the early stages. Coming back to sort of just toss out every pull. Listen, the difference, is your ultimate going to make the difference in a team fight between, at like 4 minutes? Probably not. Just use it.
Likely not, especially without pen boots being complete. I think he had like 10 Warlock Sash stacks at the time. There's no way that's going to be the make or break, and Dinosaur needs some help because he's getting CC'd. This might be the difference maker.
Right down the middle. It's going to hit Dinosaur for a lot. There's a chunk coming out from the mid lane, though. Vapor gets the last hit onto Matt Koi's support for support. Osric caught off by a great wall coming out from Kaden, but no follow-up. Kaden throws the hammer way past the Hunter, and now Vapor looking to turn around. But a nice play by Jarman to keep Predators in the middle lane. Otherwise, that's a dead Hunter.
Yeah, Jarman did a great job of zoning away there. Was a great wall by Kaden, as you mentioned. He actually catches the dash and the beads as well. Vaporish gonna try and turn it around, but doesn't have the Aegis yet. Hadn't backed since hitting level 12. Nice play by Kaden on this Thor.
And that's just a punish for the way that Vapor pathed. Could have definitely taken the safer way.
Without a doubt. And sometimes when you get a pentakill the set before, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. Maybe you don't take the safer path, but in that situation, you absolutely have to without having Aegis. A little bit unfortunate that catches the dash, but I don't think the dash saves him there either way.
Osric in his own jungle getting just caught and jumped on top. Moronic gets the kill off the assist from the Osiris player. Dinosaur now in a little bit of trouble. Heals from the Wisps, and that'll keep him alive. Level 8 on that Sylvanas since his opponent reaches level 9. Speed buff invade by Strictly Business.
It's going to go successfully in their favor. I believe Osric's done a good job of defending that so far. That might be the first one that went down for Strictly Business, but the key is that they've been there every single time. Osric has gotten nothing for free so far in this game. He's second from the bottom in XP per minute. He hasn't been able to farm very well despite being able to secure a lot of those buffs, because even if speed buff goes their way, maybe blue buff goes to Strictly Business, and even if that goes their way, then they're poked out because Strictly Business has been fighting them so much.
You know, it's interesting. So I brought up the fact that Osric was the first player on the squad, because so the background of this team is a lot of times, especially in younger leagues, Vapor and Matt Koi is just going at it. Matt Koi is not going to bring too much damage. You see the same pool of players just kind of washed around, and this was a new team. Ultimate out of Dinosaur. Matt Koi's in trouble, and that's going to be a kill. Number 2 for Eanix. Nice play by Vapor. 50-meter fly is going to hit, but Fatal's able to get out of there.
Nice play there by Eanix, just punishing Matt Koi's for being a little bit too aggressive. Believe he did get that purple buff stolen away. No, actually, Osric is able to pick it up, so despite his aggressive positioning, still gets punished for it. Has his ultimate now, but I believe it was on cooldown, with a CC chain there just a little bit too potent from all of Eanix, committing 4 ults to bring down the support.
Don't know if we had this conversation on air or not. But we're talking about Kaden playing Thor. Thor's a character, and these are your words. Thor's a character that you, when you're on, you're like hitting him. Right now, Kaden, thumbs up.
He's hitting them without a doubt, and that's a great sign for Strictly Business fans, because as we said coming into this game, Kaden has had his struggles, especially at LAN, and he looked a little bad. He looked a little out of place.
Yeah.
Bad at first whenever he first joined this roster, but he's really started to come into his own. He's clearly started to mesh well with this team, And if he's on, then Strictly Business looks nearly unstoppable. I mean, Baronic is for my money, probably the best mid laner in the league right now. Matt Koiz has a ton of LAN experience, the winningest Xbox player. He's won a billion LANs, it feels like. Not the most important one, Worlds, but he's been a part of a lot of winning squads.
Yes.
Ryan Jarman's been on the come up for a while now. Many regard him as one of the best solos on Xbox behind Wolves. So this is a really talented team, but having your jungler be inconsistent is a really easy way to find inconsistent results. And that needs to be the corner that Strictly Business turns before they're ready to take a world championship.
You talk to people outside and they say SB is definitely a good team. I'm not saying they're a bad team, but they're overrated. And I feel like that's a response I've gotten from a number of players here. And nobody can really, stick their finger on to why. But I think it's there. I think it's the fact that your jungle position just isn't always on point. But again, the wall, the double tap. Kaden he's got the hot hand today. And if SB are going to win, it's going to be because of Kaden having a good day.
And Fatal Ghost needs to be consistent here at this LAN as well. One of his first showings, I believe not his overall first, but still early in his LAN career.
Right side, Predators being aggressed on by SB. And there's a pull that's going to land, but Dinosaur seems to be all by himself. Scylla too far away, and the Sylvanas is going to be the one that's punished here. Last hit from the rotating solo lane. Ryan spent more time in the middle lane and the right side jungle than the actual solo lane itself.
Well, he's just been able to pop over, clear the wave, and then go be annoying elsewhere, and that's how a good solo laner operates.
And he's still 2 levels up.
That's the warrior pressure, man, against that Guardian solo. SB clearly have done their homework on how to deal with this Xing Chen pick that's had so much success. And because of that pressure in mid, because of Dinosaur overextending, which has been a problem for him in the past, he gets punished for it, and then Strictly Business continues the punishment by picking up that Gold Fury. All Fatal Ghost did it all by himself.
Yeah, 14.5, 6-2. SB up about 4K. It's the easy numbers here early on in this one. Strictly Business, definitely the top card coming in, but I think Eanix has earned themselves some dark horse points after yesterday. Again, Eanix definitely capitalized off of a couple of misplays from Obey, but there is skill, and we said this yesterday, there's skill in punishing correctly, and Eanix absolutely did that.
Without a doubt. I mean, yes, did Obey kind of hand them an early lead with the way that they played the early game? Yes, I agree. But at the same time, how many NA teams have handed EU teams early leads and they don't take the bait, they don't take the fights, whatever. And Eanix is not that team. And again, Vaporish has a great individual performance that game in lane, soloing Zaxi with the pentakill. This is clearly a team with talent, but this 50-meter fly seems much less comfortable on the Scylla so far than he did on the Nox yesterday. Or the Raijin. I mean, kind of, but has not been able to play aggressive, has not been able to clear the lane as quickly as a Thoth. And yes, we always talk about Scylla having bad early wave clear, but in reality, hers is better than Thoth in the early game. So the fact that he's been consistently getting out pushed and being out rotated is not a good look so far for Eanix.
I feel you on that one. And I'm definitely keeping an eye on this team, this game, because this is one of those squads, and we've seen a couple on the PC side of things. We've seen a couple, even in SCL. Dinosaur, not again. Oh, he doesn't get hit by the Terra, but he gets hit by the Thor. Stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Nice backstep.
Oh, the ultimate not going to be enough. For one more time, he falls down. The immune? They immuned it?
That Kaden hit the Aegis right on time. Ozric going to be in a little bit of trouble. Now big damage coming out of all of Strictly Business, but might be able to get out. Kaden going to need to hit this ult.
Oh, but he misses by a mile. Ozric's not going to be there. Kaden catches up, however, and does find the Zerkers. Predators falls down. Fatal Ghost with the long rotation out of the long lane. 3-0. And Strictly Business go from 6 to 9. And look for the Portal Demon as their prize.
And again, how did this start? It's Dinosaur getting picked off. I mean, Sylvanas is not the type of god that I like to see Dinosaur on. He's an aggressive player who needs to be able to make plays. And while Sylvanas can do that, you're also putting yourself at risk, as we've seen so far in this game. There's a reason that Dinosaur kind of burst onto the scene internationally by playing Erlong Shen at a very high level. That's a god that can be in a bad spot, survive, make plays, CC the opposition, and keep himself alive. That's the kind of style that Dinosaur really excels at. This Sylvanas has not worked out for him.
Meanwhile, Fatal Ghost taking out not his lane's tower. I love that idea. Ouch. I love that idea. Fatal's just like, Hey, I'm here. Can I just take the solo lane? I mean, I am amusing Cobb. Let me do it.
They let him do it. Easy. And they're going to get another one here in the mid lane because of that poke from Kaden on a 50-meter fly. That was a good opportunity for Dinosaur to try and pull Kaden in out of the hammer toss, but even with that, that might have just baited Eanix into a bad fight because of how many ultimates are available for Strictly Business, only waiting on that Terra's Blessing from Matt Kois.
Yeah, Eanix, like we said yesterday, the way they got back into the game, or after, so they had an early lead, they lose it a little bit, and they find themselves back into it, picking players off that were out of position, and then successfully finding these individual plays. And right now, I don't know if you're going to get the former against SB, so Eanix has to lean on individual play. You were talking about how it's not working out, but Scylla has to turn up here.
It has to, and now that he's got the Obsidian Shard, he's got a bigger chance to do so, and I like this idea to just rush penetration. We saw what happens when you don't get penetration early on. This is the right sort of build path for 50-meter fly in the mid lane.
These are my favorites.
What?
The mage build. I'm sorry. This is like my favorite mage build. I think that there's
no Doom Orb.
Sure. But so there were reasons to deviate and there are reasons to do things, and that's all well and good. But for my money, virtually like 95% of the time, virtually every time you're playing a mage, power, boots, pen, Tahuti. That's what I want to see.
That's what I want to see too.
Like, almost every time.
Now, there is an argument to be made getting Tahuti 5th instead of 4th, but in some ways, I think that's a little bit too delayed. Tahuti is such a big power spike that, yes, you don't get as much out of it by going...
But you feel it.
You feel it, number one, and then you're still feeling it, the items 5 and 6, because it's still factoring in that passive, so it makes every purchase after the Tahuti that much better.
So why not buy it first?
Because... Stop it. Don't do that. Gold Fury down to below half HP, but Strictly Business going to reset it for the moment. Kaden trying to create that zone.
They're going to stick to... Oh, now they're changing their mind, going for the team fight. There's a Thor in the air and a Thor on the ground. Beads will prevent the stun. Vapor with a hot play right there. Still dishing out the basics and immune to the damage from the double tap. That said, 2 for Fatal Ghost, just like his exes. And he's going to retreat back to the Gold Fury. And SB take another short victory, and they'll pick up a GF.
Man, Fatal Ghost is just... We haven't really talked about him so far this game, but he has done a lot so far for Strictly Business. It was pushing the objective on the left-hand side, getting the Gold Fury all by himself, comes through Portal, gets a free tower, groups up, gets another tower, and now he's all of a sudden he's 5-0-1. And I wonder how much player damage he's taken so far, because it probably feels like 0 to him. He's had a free reign in these team fights, which is what every hunter wants.
Fatal Ghost has felt like sort of the handyman, and now he's able to party. It was just his job to do all the yard work, right? Just go take care of a tower. Go solo Gold Fury. We're going to get all the kills and do the team fights. Just do the stuff, man. And now he turns up and he's like, listen, I'm going to get a double kill. All
exactly.
Right? It's me.
I did all my chores. Now let me have my fun.
Yeah, and he's certainly doing it. SB are up 10K right now at the 20-minute mark, and everything coming up Millhouse for the Purple Squad. Just looking really cute here. Matt Kois, Baronic, Kaden, Ryan Jarman, Fatal Ghosts. Looking like a really solid team. Baronic finishes that round of Tahuti, and things are just going to get even worse for Eanix.
And this is what happens. I mean, you're a team that, you know, you feel confident, but maybe other competitors don't feel like you're a big threat. You have a really good set where you look good in one of those games, and all of a sudden SB goes, okay, all right, we'll take you seriously, and we'll see what you got. And this is just the result of Strictly Business looking like the better team in this game. And in the draft for Eanix just doesn't really do it for me. As Totally mentioned on the desk, there just isn't a lot of synergy between their picks. It feels very much like, hey, what do you want to play?
Good God.
Yeah, I'll just take one of those. Yeah, you know.
Good God.
Sure, that's basically the whole draft. Whereas Strictly Business's draft works beautifully together. I mean, you're talking about a global ultimate for Matt Kois that can set up Kaden and Ryan Jarman to chase down backliners, and they're all in the name of funneling everyone together for Baronic to hit a big ultimate, and also to peel for Fatal Ghost. If Kaden and Jarman are so far in the back, no one's going to be able to get to Ghost. That's the whole idea of this composition. It's working perfectly so far.
Meanwhile, you look across the way, and there's next to no setup for the Scylla. I mean, it just seems very disjointed is the word I would use. Predators getting caught out as Strictly Business peel off of the Fire Giant. 2 toss onto the tower, but it's Predators that's going to eat the dirt. Kaden and the Hunter, and the Hunter one more time. Fatal Ghost, turn up, as we say in Atlanta. Matt Kois picks up 1, And Vapor is going to be the last one alive. And guess what? It's just for the moment. Under the tower, but Kaden gets the hammer through the wall. 3-0 and 11 for the jungler that you and I were questioning earlier today. We said if Kaden has a good game, Strictly Business will have a good game. What do you call this?
A great game from Kaden, and that's exactly what Strictly Business has had. On top of that, that team fight is near Thor perfection.
Yeah.
I mean, walling off a member, putting poke onto predators, then ulting into the back line, hitting a dunk, finishing off one, flawless. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see out of Kaden.
Just wonderful play, wonderful play. The jungler is generally the person that keeps the strategy together. You know, not always the glue guy of the team or whatnot, but just the person that's there to set up for the mid mage or peel for the back line, etc. Mad Koi's just having a good old time. I just want to watch Mad Koi's like DDR here real quick. But this Osric pick, and before I criticize the player, now I'm criticizing the choice of God, whether it's his or the team's, and you never know, of course. Just somebody needs to hold Fly's hand, and there's no one here to do it.
That, and I'm just not a big fan of Warrior Jungle plus Guardian solo. When you're going to intentionally give up pressure on the right side of the map and you're putting a Warrior in the jungle that needs to get pressure early on, you're just basically putting yourself at a big disadvantage in the early game where you're going to have a lot of trouble defending your right side buffs with a Xing Chen in the solo lane. So I just don't think that pressure Warrior Jungle plus low pressure Guardian solo is a pick that I really like. I mean, we saw with Trifecta in the final game of their run at Super Regionals in the group stage on PC, where they pick Odin jungle, Xing Chen solo. They don't get any pressure on the right side of the map because Xing Chen just is never going to get you that.
Yeah. He's a team fight monster, but not the pressure guy. Here's the question I was thinking about earlier. So as I said, Eanix, Osric was the one that caught my eye first, and the team sort of superseded him. But he's always the one that's being focused. So has Osric sort of seemed to do less work because he's focused, or is he just putting himself out of position and the team really just sort of superseded him?
I think it's more that his positioning has fallen off a little bit, and that's something that he needs to work on moving forward.
Because right now, you know, he's consistently 0 a lot. And that's not helping him or his team. Because like I said, I mean, this squad is a talented group, and I think they have legs. But Osric has to step it up. It's not going to work if he keeps playing at the level that he's playing at. And we've seen him play at a higher level, so I know it's there. 4-1 split from Strictly Business. Kaden in the middle lane, the rest of the team on the left-hand side. Kaden dragging the attention of 2 players, not just the jungler, but also the solo laner. So a 4 versus 3 here on the left-hand side. Ryan Jarman tanking the tower, and the AMC starting to tunnel into the Phoenix.
Fatal Ghost has so much attack speed right now with the Hives maxed out, with the Shogun's Kasari done for Matt Koi's. It's not going to be long before this Phoenix falls.
Big commit here. Vapor going to get stunned out, and there's going to be Dinosaur. Where'd he go? Up in the sky is Thor, lands on the back line, 50-meter fly in trouble, just hanging on by a thread. Meanwhile, Vaporish Coast going to be threaded right through the needle by the mid laner. Kaden takes out the opposing mid laner. 3 alive on the, well, make that 1 alive. Well, we'll see you later. Game number 2, as Strictly Business hits Blackjack, and they'll target the Phoenix, the Titan, and the game.
That's just clean.